Hello and welcome to this webinar presentation by Global-CPD Teacher Training Services. This presentation is on mapping the coursebook in science education, effective strategies and resources for lesson planning. Mapping the coursebook in a high school science subject involves aligning the content of the textbook with the curriculum standards and learning objectives. It is a process of breaking down the curriculum into smaller units, topics, and subtopics, and organizing them in a logical sequence to facilitate teaching and learning. Here are the key steps involved in mapping a coursebook in a high school science subject. 1. Identify curriculum standards. 2. Analyze the coursebook. 3. Align with learning objectives. 4. Create a scope and sequence. 5. Identify supplementary resources. 6. Plan assessments. 7. Differentiate instruction. 8. Review and revise. 1. Identify curriculum standards. Begin by reviewing the curriculum standards or guidelines provided by the educational authority for the specific science subject. These standards outline the essential concepts, skills, and knowledge that students should acquire. Here are some examples of curriculum standards for a high school science subject, specifically in the field of biology. Understand the principles of cellular organization. Identify the structure and function of major organelles within a cell. Explain the process of cellular respiration and its role in energy production. Describe the mechanisms of cell division, including mitosis and meiosis. Explore the diversity of life. Classify organisms into major taxonomic groups based on their characteristics. Investigate the relationships between different species using phylogenetic trees. Analyze the impact of environmental factors on biodiversity. Comprehend genetics and heredity. Understand the basic principles of Mendelian genetics and inheritance patterns. Explain the structure and function of DNA, genes, and chromosomes. Analyze genetic mutations and their consequences on phenotype and genotype. Investigate ecological systems. Examine the interrelationships between organisms and their environment. Evaluate the flow of energy and matter through ecosystems. Analyze human impacts on ecosystems and propose solutions for sustainability. Understand the principles of evolution. Explain the mechanisms of natural selection and its role in speciation. Analyze evidence for evolution, including fossil records and comparative anatomy. Understand the concept of adaptation and its importance in species survival. Explore human anatomy and physiology. Describe the structure and function of major organ systems in the human body. Explain the principles of homeostasis and how the body maintains internal balance. Investigate common diseases and disorders and their impact on the body. These examples highlight some of the essential concepts, skills, and knowledge that students should acquire in a high school biology curriculum. In the realm of science education, mapping a coursebook is akin to laying out a grand expedition. Each chapter sets the terrain. Each lesson marks a milestone, guiding curious minds through the intricate tapestry of knowledge, ensuring that every step taken is one closer to the wonders of scientific understanding. 2. Analyze the coursebook. Carefully study the content of the coursebook, including the topics, chapters, and subtopics covered. Pay attention to the order in which concepts are presented, the depth of coverage, and the overall coherence of the material. Here are some examples of topics, chapters, and subtopics that could be covered in a high school biology coursebook. Here are some more examples. These examples demonstrate the organization of topics, chapters, and subtopics within a biology coursebook. The order and depth of coverage may vary depending on the specific coursebook and curriculum standards. It's important to assess the coherence and progression of concepts to ensure effective learning. 3. Align with learning objectives. Determine the specific learning objectives for each unit or chapter in the coursebook. Learning objectives describe what students should be able to know, understand, and do by the end of a particular instructional unit. Ensure that the coursebook content aligns with these objectives. Here are examples of topics, chapters, and subtopics from physics, biology, and chemistry that could be analyzed in terms of their content, order, depth, and coherence. Here are examples of topics, chapters, and subtopics from chemistry that could be analyzed in terms of their content, order, depth, and coherence, together with the 6 levels of cognitive domain. These examples illustrate how the content of physics, biology, and chemistry coursebooks can be analyzed. The order in which concepts are presented, the depth of coverage, and the overall coherence of the material are important considerations in designing an effective learning experience for students. Actual coursebooks may vary in terms of specific topics and chapters covered, depending on the curriculum and educational standards in a particular region. 4. Create a scope and sequence. Develop a scope and sequence document that outlines the sequence of topics and the estimated time frame for each unit or chapter. Consider the logical progression of concepts, prerequisite knowledge, and any dependencies between topics. Here are examples of scope and sequence information outlining the sequence of topics and estimated time frames for each unit or chapter. And here are examples of scope and sequence information for chemistry. These examples provide a scope and sequence information outlining the sequence of topics and estimated time frames for each unit or chapter in physics, biology, and chemistry courses. The logical progression of concepts, prerequisite knowledge, and dependencies between topics have been considered to ensure a comprehensive and coherent learning experience. Actual scope and sequence documents may vary depending on the curriculum and educational standards followed in a particular region or country. 5. Identify supplementary resources. Determine if any additional resources such as worksheets, lab activities, multimedia materials, or online resources are needed to enhance the understanding of the coursebook content. These resources can provide opportunities for hands-on experimentation, critical thinking, and further exploration. Here are examples of supplementary resources that could be used to enhance the understanding of coursebook content in physics, biology, and chemistry. Physics, worksheets. Provide practice problems and conceptual questions that reinforce the topics covered in the coursebook. These can include calculations, graphing exercises, and conceptual scenarios. Laboratory activities. Engage students in hands-on experiments that demonstrate the principles of physics. For example, conducting experiments on motion, forces, energy, or optics to reinforce theoretical concepts. Simulations and virtual labs. Utilize online simulations or virtual laboratory platforms that allow students to explore and manipulate physics phenomena in a virtual environment. These can simulate experiments, illustrate concepts, and provide interactive learning experiences. Multimedia materials. Use videos, animations, and interactive simulations to visually demonstrate physics concepts. These can include videos of real-world applications, demonstrations of experiments, or visual explanations of complex topics. Biology, field trips, and nature walks. Take students on field trips or nature walks to observe and study ecosystems, biodiversity, and natural phenomena firsthand. This can provide practical experience and connect theoretical concepts to real-world examples. Dissection. Kits and models. Provide dissection kits or models for students to study anatomy and understand biological structures. This hands-on approach can enhance their understanding of organisms and their systems. Interactive apps and online resources. Utilize interactive apps and online resources that offer virtual dissections, 3D models, and simulations to explore biological concepts such as genetics, cellular processes, and ecological interactions. Scientific articles and research papers. Introduce students to scientific literature related to biology topics. Reading and analyzing scientific articles can develop critical thinking skills and expose students to current research and discoveries. Chemistry, hands-on experiments. Conduct laboratory experiments that allow students to observe chemical reactions, perform measurements, and analyze data. These experiments can reinforce concepts related to stoichiometry, chemical reactions, and properties of matter. Molecular model kits. Use molecular model kits to help students visualize and understand the structure and bonding of molecules. Manipulating physical models can aid in comprehending complex concepts, such as molecular geometry and intermolecular forces. Online simulations and virtual labs. Access interactive simulations and virtual labs that allow students to explore chemical phenomena and conduct experiments in a digital environment. These resources can provide opportunities for virtual reaction simulations and data analysis. Periodic table apps and interactive websites. Use digital resources such as interactive periodic table apps and websites to explore the properties, trends, and applications of elements. These resources can provide additional information and visual representations of the periodic table. These examples showcase various supplementary resources that can enhance the understanding of coursebook content in physics, biology, and chemistry. The selection of supplementary resources can be based on the specific topics covered and the availability of materials and technology. It is important to choose resources that align with the learning objectives and provide opportunities for hands-on experimentation, critical thinking, and further exploration. 6. Plan assessments. Identify appropriate formative and summative assessments to evaluate students' understanding of the content. Design assessments that align with the learning objectives and provide a comprehensive evaluation of students' knowledge and skills. Here are examples of formative and summative assessments that can be used to evaluate students' understanding of content in physics, biology, and chemistry. Physics. Formative assessment. Concept maps. Students create concept maps that illustrate the relationships between key concepts, laws, and principles learned in physics. This assessment helps identify students' understanding of the connections between different topics. Summative assessment. Problem-solving tasks. Provide a set of problem-solving tasks that require students to apply the principles and formulas learned in physics to solve real-world scenarios. This assessment evaluates students' ability to analyze problems, apply appropriate concepts, and arrive at correct solutions. Formative assessment. Peer discussions. Assign students to engage in peer discussions where they explain physics concepts to their classmates. This assessment encourages collaborative learning and allows students to clarify their understanding while providing feedback to their peers. Summative assessment. Lab reports. Conduct laboratory experiments related to physics concepts and ask students to write comprehensive lab reports. This assessment evaluates their ability to design experiments, collect data, analyze results, and draw valid conclusions. Biology. Formative assessment. Multiple choice quizzes. Administer short multiple choice quizzes after each topic to assess students' knowledge and understanding of key concepts in biology. These quizzes can be used to provide immediate feedback and identify areas that require further review. Summative assessment. Research projects. Assign students to conduct research projects on specific biological topics, requiring them to gather information, analyze data, and present their findings. This assessment evaluates their research skills, understanding of scientific concepts, and ability to communicate effectively. Formative assessment. Conceptual diagrams. Ask students to create conceptual diagrams or flowcharts that depict the relationships and interactions between biological processes and concepts. This assessment helps assess their understanding of complex biological systems and their ability to visually represent knowledge. Summative assessment. Written examinations. Conduct written examinations that assess students' understanding of fundamental biological concepts, such as genetics, cell structure, and ecological principles. These assessments can include a combination of multiple choice, short answer, and essay questions. Chemistry, formative assessment. Exit tickets. Use exit tickets as a quick formative assessment at the end of a class to gauge students' understanding of the day's topic. These can be short questions or problems that assess specific concepts covered in the lesson. Summative assessment. Lab practical conduct. A lab practical where students perform a series of chemistry experiments and are evaluated based on their lab skills, data analysis, and understanding of chemical principles. Formative assessment. Group discussions. Assign students to work in groups and engage in discussions related to chemistry concepts or problem-solving tasks. Assess their contributions, explanations, and ability to apply concepts in a collaborative setting. Summative assessment. Extended response questions. Include extended response questions in written examinations that require students to explain complex chemical concepts, provide examples, and demonstrate their understanding through logical reasoning and critical thinking. These examples illustrate a range of formative and summative assessments that can be used to evaluate students' understanding of content in physics, biology, and chemistry. It is important to align assessments with the learning objectives and consider a mix of assessment types to provide a comprehensive evaluation of students' knowledge and skills. 7. Differentiate instruction. Consider the diverse needs of students in the classroom and plan for differentiation strategies. This may include providing additional resources for struggling students, offering extension activities for advanced learners, or adapting the instructional approach to accommodate different learning styles. Here are examples of differentiation strategies that can be used to accommodate the diverse needs of students in the classroom for physics, biology, and chemistry. Physics. Additional resources for struggling students. Provide simplified versions of the coursebook content or supplementary materials that break down complex concepts into more manageable chunks for struggling students. Offer extra practice problems or worksheets with step-by-step explanations to reinforce understanding and build confidence. Provide video tutorials or online resources that offer alternative explanations and visual representations of physics concepts. Extension activities for advanced learners. Assign additional challenging problem-solving tasks or projects that delve deeper into physics concepts or require higher-order thinking skills. Encourage advanced learners to explore advanced topics beyond the scope of the coursebook through independent research or readings. Provide opportunities for advanced learners to mentor or assist their peers, fostering collaborative learning and reinforcing their own understanding. Adapted instructional approaches for different learning styles. Incorporate hands-on experiments and demonstrations for kinesthetic learners to engage them in the learning process. Use visual aids such as diagrams, charts, and graphs to support visual learners' understanding of physics concepts. Provide audio recordings or lectures for auditory learners to reinforce understanding through listening and repetition. Biology. Additional resources for struggling students. Offer simplified reading materials or alternative texts that present biological concepts in a more accessible language or format for struggling readers. Provide guided notes or graphic organizers to help struggling students organize their thoughts and key information during lectures or readings. Utilize interactive online resources or apps that offer interactive visuals and multimedia elements to support understanding for struggling students. Extension activities for advanced learners. Assign advanced research projects or case studies that require in-depth analysis and critical thinking on complex biological topics. Offer advanced readings or scientific articles related to biology that allow advanced learners to explore current research and extend their knowledge beyond the coursebook. Facilitate group discussions or debates on controversial topics in biology, encouraging advanced learners to explore different perspectives and defend their viewpoints. Adapted instructional approaches for different learning styles. Provide hands-on laboratory activities or field trips for kinesthetic learners to actively engage with biological phenomena and concepts. Use visual aids such as diagrams, models, or videos to support visual learners' understanding of biological structures, processes, and relationships. Incorporate discussions, group work, and verbal explanations to cater to auditory learners' need for verbal interaction and discussion. Chemistry. Additional resources for struggling students. Provide additional examples and practice problems with step-by-step explanations to help struggling students grasp key chemistry concepts and problem-solving techniques. Offer simplified versions of complex chemical reactions or equations, breaking them down into smaller steps for easier comprehension. Provide interactive online tutorials or virtual labs that offer immediate feedback and guidance for struggling students. Extension activities for advanced learners. Assign advanced research projects or independent study on specialized topics in chemistry, allowing advanced learners to delve deeper into specific areas of interest. Offer advanced problem-solving challenges or open-ended inquiry-based projects that encourage advanced learners to apply chemistry concepts creatively. Provide opportunities for advanced learners to participate in science fairs, chemistry competitions, or mentorship programs to further develop their skills and interests. Adapted instructional approaches for different learning styles. Incorporate hands-on experiments and demonstrations for kinesthetic learners to engage them in exploring chemical reactions and properties. Utilize visual representations such as molecular models, diagrams, or infographics to support visual learners' understanding of complex chemical structures and processes. Provide audio or video recordings of lectures or explanations to accommodate auditory learners who benefit from listening to information. By implementing these differentiation strategies, educators can effectively address the diverse needs of students in the classroom, providing support and opportunities for growth for all learners. 8. Review and revise. Continuously review the mapped coursebook to ensure that it meets the needs of the students and aligns with the curriculum standards. Seek feedback from teachers, students, and curriculum experts to make necessary revisions and improvements. Here are examples of how to review and revise a mapped coursebook, regardless of the specific subject. Seek feedback from teachers. Conduct surveys or interviews with subject teachers to gather their feedback on the coursebook. Ask for their input on the clarity of the content, sequencing of topics, and overall effectiveness of the instructional materials. Organize focus group discussions with teachers to discuss specific strengths and weaknesses of the coursebook and solicit their suggestions for improvements. Gather feedback from students. Administer surveys or questionnaires to students to gauge their perception of the coursebook. Ask about their understanding of the content, the relevance of the examples and exercises, and their overall engagement with the material. Encourage students to provide specific feedback on areas they find challenging or topics they would like to explore in more depth. Consult curriculum. Experts. Engage curriculum experts or experienced educators in the relevant subject area to review the coursebook. Seek their professional insights on the alignment of the content with the curriculum standards, the appropriateness of the difficulty level, and suggestions for enhancing the learning experience. Analyze assessment results. Review assessment results, including formative and summative evaluations, to identify areas where students may be struggling or excelling. Use this data to assess the effectiveness of the coursebook in supporting student learning and adjust the content accordingly. Teacher reflection and observation. Encourage teachers to reflect on their experiences using the coursebook and make note of areas that may need improvement or clarification. Conduct classroom observations to observe how teachers and students are interacting with the coursebook and identify any challenges or areas for enhancement. Student surveys and feedback. Administer surveys or feedback forms to students to gather their perspectives on the coursebook. Ask about their understanding of the content, the clarity of explanations, and their engagement with the material. Encourage students to provide specific suggestions for improving the coursebook, such as additional examples, visual aids, or real-world applications. Collaborative professional development. Organize professional development workshops or meetings with subject teachers to collaboratively review the coursebook. Facilitate discussions to share best practices, exchange ideas, and address any concerns or challenges related to the content. External review. Invite external experts in education or curriculum design to review the coursebook. Seek their expertise to ensure the content aligns with the curriculum standards, addresses key concepts effectively, and provides opportunities for inquiry-based learning. By incorporating these review and revision strategies, you can ensure that the mapped coursebook is continuously improved to meet the needs of the students and align with the curriculum standards across various subjects. Mapping the coursebook in a high school science subject is a crucial step for educators to ensure effective curriculum delivery and meet students' diverse needs. By aligning the coursebook with curriculum standards, educators ensure the content covers the essential concepts and knowledge. Analyzing the coursebook allows for logical sequencing and coherence of concepts, facilitating better understanding. Mapping also helps in setting specific learning objectives and aligning the content accordingly. By identifying gaps, educators can plan instructional strategies and resources, including differentiated approaches to accommodate different learning styles. Additionally, assessments aligned with the coursebook help evaluate student progress and inform instructional adjustments. Overall, mapping the coursebook enhances instructional planning, supports student learning, and promotes successful curriculum implementation. Thank you for investing your valuable time with us today. Remember, the best teacher is the best learner. Let's continue to learn, adapt, and thrive in our noble profession. Until next time, happy teaching! You can access the comprehensive PDF document associated with this presentation through the Learning Management System. Global-CPD, Continuing Professional Development for Teachers and School Leaders. Global-CPD is an organization with a vision to provide relevant, effective, and innovative professional development for teachers and educational leaders in English medium school and university contexts. Global-CPD offers professional development courses to teachers and administrators through a solid program of needs analysis by setting short, medium, and long-term goals for better quality education and provision of specialized training programs with follow-up support. To learn more about Global-CPD work and services, contact us by email at admin@global-cpd.org or visit our website at www.global-cpd.org. Many of our services have online forms which allow you to access services at any time that is convenient to you. Learning teachers lead the way.